Oh, hello there, guys. My name is Frank, and welcome back to my channel. How are you? I personally have not been feeling very well since a few days ago. I don't know if you noticed this little thing under here in my eye. It's called state and is unfamously known for being quite painful. Anyway, in today's topic, we're going to talk about Tolkien. More precisely, I'll give a brief introspection about how I approach language as a tool to communicate with people, how languages evolve amidst a globalized world, and to talk about my own experience in this crazy bilingual journey, how English had impacted my life. So, to start off this conversation, I want to talk a little bit about communication habits. As generally defined, an habit is understood as a settled or regular tendency or practice, usually one that is hard to give up. Hmm. When communicating, this often translates as this kind of traits we display once we're engaged in a conversation. For example, in my own case, I am quite known for being anxious while chatting. Sometimes I might be too quiet, some other times I might be bursting out of emotion if the conversation heats up a lot. I usually tend to wander off my side even though I'm paying attention. Some other time, very frequently, I tend to either smile or laugh a lot from the beginning to the end of a conversation. I guess most of these habits are mildly bad, and I wish I were more recollected. On this topic, do you know, guys, that over the years a theory has been developed that explains the existence of four types of communicators? I'll try to define each one as quickly as I can. The first one is analytical communicator. There are those who like to use language in a very concise way to convey information based on solid data and facts. Then we have intuitive communicators. They tend to be very assertive, they like to see the bigger picture, and they go over details on options without too much analyzing. Next, there is the functional speaker. They are very thorough in their speaking and they like to go through every detail from start to finish. So they are quite opposite to a intuitive communicator. And finally, we have personal communicators. They are very emotional because they like to emphasize feelings and subjectivity over other stuff. And that's the reason why they tend to be very approachable when talking to people, or sometimes even more charismatic and diplomatic. Personally, I think of myself as a functional communicator because, in my own philosophy of life, I tend to organize every aspect of my life into a very clearly structure so I can visualize better the steps I need to accomplish my goals. This mindset usually leads in the way I speak with my friends, my family, and my coworkers. Some even wish I wouldn't overthink things so much. Moving on to another topic I want to discuss is about how the way we speak has been changed by globalization. Yeah, like just look at me, right? I'm attempting to speak in English even though I live in a Spanish speaking country. Isn't that a little bit crazy? Just a little bit? Anyways, in an article for the United Nations Human Rights in 2019, the author stated that there were over 6,700 languages spoken in the world, 40% of which were in danger of disappearing. Now, the author explains that many of these languages came from indigenous communities. that have adapted to the dominant culture present in their neighboring cities and towns. I personally believe this mass extinction of languages is truly a human tragedy, not just because the loss of words, but also because with the banishment of every word, it also implies the disappearing of a unique set of belief, history, and knowledge that cannot be recovered in their true expression. In this train of thought, some people have said that English could be considered a language killer. Why? Well, they say that due to the British Empire expansion, a lot of native communities were forced to either die, marginalized, or to adapt to the new language. This was the case of America and Australia. I undeniably think this is true. However, I think this is also a little bit disingenuous. I mean, it's not the language that kill other languages, it's the nation behind the language and how their dynamics evolve over time with other nations. By this logic, Spanish and French could also be considered language killers because the nation founded colonies all over America, Africa, and Asia. A few centuries ago, English wasn't that really important. French was the dominant language, and a lot of aristocracies from the from England to the deceased Russian royalty used to speak with many French words. Now, we can discuss how the USA changed the world forever with their aggressive trade strategies, as well as the exporting of their culture, many times in a very glamorized and unrealistic way. And even then, I will dare to say that the spread of English is something actually good. Why do I say that? Well, in my own experience, English has been always a universal language for me that has allowed me to speak without exaggeration, anyone in this world. I have spoken with people in Egypt, in Canada, and even the Philippines, thanks to social apps like Tandem or Slowly. In this sense, English has the potential to allow the exchange of ideas, stories, knowledge, and even friendship among common people and alliances among nations. Uh, I don't really know, I don't think there is an official statistic about it, but in my country, there must be a really small percentage of people who actually knows how to speak or at least understand English. And I wish that someday 100% of the population could be able to do so because they will be able to communicate with the world. And I think that wraps everything in a nice way. Thanks everybody to stuck with me until the end of this rambling. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. It really helped me grow. And as always, until the next time, I have something to say. Goodbye.